diabetes, bit of excess weight sometimes, you can get some heart attack. That's why we tell people all the time to lifestyle changes. He doesn't smoke, which is lucky, but which is also a risk factor.
Is he in a stable condition, and how?
I think right now I can say he's quite stable. He's on. There are the routines that we do. Every doctor knows the type of things we do when somebody is suspected of some heart trouble. There are some standards of blood tests, ECGs, echoes that we do, and some standard medications of aspirin and cholesterol medicine that we give as we observe.
And Dr. from where you sit, will he spend the night here? Is he likely to spend the night or more days in this facility?
If you come with chest pain in any hospital in this country or in the world, you will be held captive for at least 24, 72 hours to rule out serious issues. I'm sure you guys read a lot. Stress can cause heart problems, we know that, and the DP is definitely out of stress. I'm sure you've heard about something called Takotsubo syndrome, the broken heart syndrome, all those things that can cause severe heart problem. So all those are possibilities. So I would say if you come in that type of situation, you need to be observed for about 48 to 72 hours. Yeah.
So, Dr. recovery may vary from patient to patient.
Definitely.
But perhaps you've had experience and you've handled such cases before.
Yeah.
Do you foresee him being admitted for a while, or how are you treating this?
At least maybe 48 to 72 hours minimum. Yeah. So, you know, for us, we always play on the safe side. You don't want to rush and make a mistake. You want to make sure that when you are done, you have done, and you are sure that somebody is safe. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
Sorry, we kept you waiting because we were busy inside there. But I'm glad to meet you. Yeah.
So, are we likely to see them coming out shortly? Now that they're in a stable condition,
No, I said I think we have to keep him at least 48 to 72 hours to make sure that he is safe. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Daktari, if you're a doctor, if you're a doctor, Mheshimiwa, perhaps you can get your sentiments also, Mheshimiwa. Very much.
You can just step forward, please.
Please.
Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for speaking to us. You have been with the Deputy President. Perhaps, what is his status at this time?
It's very unfortunate that the Deputy President is overwhelmed, and I guess that's why he's here, because he's completely crushed. We've not been able to have any conversation with him or even to see him properly, because we came in when the doctors were at it, and therefore we may not be able to talk about his medical status right now. But I'm sure you have heard from even the people who saw him come in. Things were a little bit heavy on him. Yeah, so we just came here to just support the family and support his workers, his support staff. They are really crushed, and we are hoping and praying that he's going to come out of it.
You don't sit in the Senate, but you've just seen what has happened in the Senate. Maybe a sentiment on this as the Deputy President is still in this facility.
It's quite unfortunate that politics has pushed us to the extent that we no longer respect life or dignify life. Because I thought the honorable thing that Senate should have done is to allow the Deputy President to get himself up and continue with the process. But if the Senate has decided that they really do not give weight to the human defeat of the process, then I think we have a lot to rectify in this country. It's very unfortunate that
Na mtazamaji, hao ni viongozi ambao wapo hapo katika hospitali ya Karen hapa jijini Nairobi. Wameenda kumtembelea naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua ambaye amelazwa hapo kuanzia mwendo wa mchana kutokana na hali yake ya kuugua maumivu makali ya kifua. Mtazamaji, ambapo alifeli kuweza kuhudhuria kikao cha mchana wa leo, ambapo alikuwa anatarajiwa kujitetea kwa muda wa masaa mawili. Na moja kwa moja, mtazamaji, kama ulivyosikia pale taarifa ya daktari, ni kwamba hivi sasa anaendelea vyema, lakini watamzuia hapo kwa masaa 24 hivi 72 ili kuweza kumchunguza zaidi, maana yake masuala ya maumivu ya kifua si masuala rahisi. Na moja kwa moja tuelekee katika bunge la Senate.
National Assembly and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the National Assembly. Further whereas pursuant to Article 145 as read with Article 151 and 2 of the Constitution and the Standing Orders 78 and 79 of the Senate had the National Assembly on grounds for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And further whereas pursuant to Article 145 as read with Article 151B and 2 of the Constitution and Standing Order 78 and 79 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate also had His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, on the grounds of his proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Now, therefore, pursuant to Articles 145, as read with Article 151B and 2 of the Constitution and the Standing Orders 78 and 79 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate resolves to remove from office by impeachment His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, on the following grounds. 1. Gross violation of Articles 10(2)(a), B, and C, Article 27(4), 73(1)(a), and 2B, Article 75(1)(c), and 129(2) of the Constitution, and Article 147(1) as read together with Article 131(2), C and D of the Constitution. Charge 2, gross violations of Articles 147 and 152 of the Constitution by undermining the President and the Cabinet and effective discharge of the national government's executive mandate. Charge 3, gross violations of Articles 6(2), 10(2)(a), and 174, 186(1), and 189(1), and the fourth schedule to the Constitution by undermining devolution. 4, gross violations of Article 161 of the Constitution on the institutional and decisional independence of judges. 5, gross violations of Articles 3(1) and 145(5)(a) of the Constitution on the fidelity to the oath of office and allegiance. Charge 6, serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed crimes under Sections 13(1)(a) and 62 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act. Charge 7, serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed gross economic crimes under Sections 45(1), 46, 47(a), 3, and 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and Sections 2, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. Charge 8, serious reasons to believe that His Excellency the Deputy President has committed crimes by continuously misleading members of the public through false, malicious, divisive, and insightful remarks that are contrary to the provisions of Section 132 of the Penal Code and Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. Charge 9, gross misconduct that is incompatible with the calling and the dignified status of the office of the Deputy President and a member of the Cabinet and the National Security Council. His Excellency the Deputy President that has publicly attacked and undermined the work of the National Security Intelligence Services and its officers. Charge 10, gross misconduct by openly or publicly subordinating the President, who is the head of state and government. 11, gross misconduct by persistently bullying state and public officers. Mr. Speaker, I have observed that this is such a momentous task ahead, and I never imagined a few years ago, Mr. Speaker, that it will be possible after the journey that we have traveled with His Excellency the Deputy President in the political side that I belong to, that hardly 2 years down the line, I will have the difficult task of having to move the impeachment motion against him after listening to this case brought to this House by the National Assembly, in the case titled the National Assembly versus His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. And the last 2 days, Mr. Speaker, together with other Kenyans, we have watched with lots of bewilderment, hard to believe pronouncements, and difficulty, Mr. Speaker, to believe that here is where we find ourselves as a nation. Despite the many challenges that we have gone through over the years, it was our hope, Mr. Speaker, that public officials would have picked up a lesson or two, especially those that are slightly older than yours truly, and many that are younger than me in this House, Mr. Speaker, and that in their conduct, they will reflect better the skills, demeanor, pronouncements of a leadership, Mr. Speaker, that this country continues to yearn for. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, listening to the case that has been brought to us by the National Assembly, I have reason to believe, beyond any doubt in my mind, Mr. Speaker, that they have justified the case that they have brought before us and have been able to ably demonstrate to us and to the country, Mr. Speaker, that there is no other cure by design of our Constitution to the challenges, either political or legal or otherwise, that are being faced, Mr. Speaker, by the workings and the working relationship between the President and his deputy, other than by way of impeachment. And the National Assembly has moved this House, Mr. Speaker, on 11 charges, blow by blow, with citations and examples in broad daylight, Mr. Speaker, showing and mapping, Mr. Speaker, that each charge, how it has been committed, Mr. Speaker, and how it violates either the Constitution or various laws of the Republic of Kenya. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, we are left with very minimal options. I have observed before this House, Mr. Speaker, that the Deputy President is personally known to me. I consider him a friend. I have had the opportunity to interact with him, learn a lot from him, Mr. Speaker, listen to his wise counsel sometimes. But this evening, Mr. Speaker, duty calls. And when duty calls, Mr. Speaker, there is very little that we can do. I am afraid, Mr. Speaker, that as legislators, as servants of the people, we have to listen to what the people are telling us. Mr. Speaker, we must appreciate that in 2010, when Kenyans went to the polls and brought about change via the new constitution, it was a call for us to have a better republic than had been observed previously since 1963. And there are various high ideals, high demands that have been placed in all of us that are in leadership. And I must add quickly, Mr. Speaker, that as you rise in stature from a member of a county assembly to a member of the National Assembly, senator, governor, deputy president, and eventually even as president, Mr. Speaker, that as you ascend in the hierarchy of leadership, the demands by the Constitution are even more. Number one, because you occupy greater public space, you represent more people. When you speak, Mr. Speaker, you say things that can affect either positively or otherwise the lives of millions of citizens. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, listening to the case that